So I personally donated 10K because I think it is worthwhile. And if you guys got some extra bread, I would recommend you donate.
Who would have thought that donating to a charity could cause you so much grief in your real life? What's going on, everybody? Look, we're getting into the meat and potatoes about Ludwig, who's getting in trouble about a Palestinian children's relief fund that he donated to. And trust me, there's a lot of people who are giving him backlash about this because they're picking sides or they're being really, I don't know, insensitive about the war topic. Now, I haven't touched anything that has to do with this war for a plethora of different reasons. I voice my opinions on different platforms, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, you'll definitely be able to hear my voice on these issues. So Ludwig, somebody who very much feels passionate about the things that are going on, takes $10,000 out of his heart to donate to the children, because in this issue, children are actually seeing real harm and real violence, and that's very sad. However, there are people who have very big issues about what he's doing and the way that he's going about this. Capri Sun Poppy, who is a known streamer, put this tweet out that says, the reason why at Ludwig's clip is upsetting is not because he didn't donate enough money or he didn't do the watermelon stream. It's the last part. He didn't join the charity stream was so he doesn't upset those who have mixed feelings about it, Zionists, in his community. Now, I do agree with a little bit of what he's saying here. If you have an opinion about something so radical, revolutionary, something where people are losing lives, it shouldn't even matter. If you really stand on business, stand on business. If you ruffle some feathers, ruffle some feathers. Now, I know Ludwig is a very big performer. He's a very big entity, but you've got to be able to voice your opinion, stand in the matter, and take whatever backlash you have to take if that's what you truly believe in. Now, apparently both of them had some sort of conversation, because Capri Sun Poppy later pointed out that they had talked about it, came to an agreement, made some conclusions, and didn't think that it was that big of a deal, or came to some middle ground. I wasn't a part of the conversation, so I don't know. However, there are some other streamers who feel super strongly about the way that this was presented by Ludwig, and the things that she says are honestly racially insensitive.
I find ultimately, like, if I were to do a charity thing where the charity thing relies on your donations, it should be something where like 95% of people feel good and are down for it. And like ultimately, regardless of what you think, that is not the situation here. So I personally donated 10K, but I won't throw it on you. You know what I mean? No thanks. And some people are gonna say that. You know what I mean? That's why it's the difference.
This is a cracker take.
Between like, hey, but I don't need to put your money there.
Hey, I know Arabs are dying, but you know, I'm not gonna tell you to donate.
Look, I'm gonna let her rock out in a minute, but what I do want to say is, even if you believe that X person should use their voice and their platform and their opinions on things that would benefit your cause, hey, I totally understand that. It's not the way that the world works. It's kind of like what I've said in previous videos. Why do we expect these big platformers, these big streamers to know about, care about, or even align with the thing that we want to align with? So honestly, it's a big ask for them to do certain things, because honestly, they may not be the most knowledgeable. Where I draw the line though is the racial takes. I believe that you could deliver it just a little bit better, especially without you being, you know, racist in the attempts.
Think about the Twitch streamers that haven't, or like streamers in general, that haven't said shit about Palestine until engagement was threatened. But the ones that got the most shit for talking about Palestine since October 7th have been me, Caroline, Hassan.
Now, she is waking some things up that actually do deserve some credibility. What she's waking up here is very important. I think that I can remember back to the time when like the George Floyd Black Lives Matter movements were going on. I could only help but think that people were jumping into these movements or jumping into these fights for one specific reason and one specific reason only, and that's money. And no, I'm not talking about the Black Lives Matter organization, who we know jumped into it for money, but we know about the people that changed their profile pics on Instagram to meet something black. We're talking about the people who hopped out into protest and started walking with the community. We're talking about all the people that were pushing the hashtag and the slogan BLM, etc., in order to push their brand reach and their audience reach. If we're talking about the ends justifying the means, then hey, what happened is possibly necessary. I get that. But let's not take away from the fact that people oftentimes hop into these movements for engagement, and engagement being they're either losing it or they see a way to gain it.
White saviors is like, oh yeah, you know, me, I donated $10,000, but I'm not gonna promote it. Just don't say you donated $10,000. If you don't believe in the cause, and if you're not against genocide at this point, like, keep your fucking money.
Nah, I think she's using her words in a bad way here, but she does have some credibility. Of course, it could have went without the racial talk. It could have went without, you know, the dismissive of the amount of funds that were being sent. She probably could have dressed it up better and explained her point better, especially for the layman. But I do agree to some extent, and this has nothing to do with my beliefs on the matter or not, but I do agree that people do jump on the different sides of different arguments based off of which one they see as true. trendy, which one they see as current, without understanding the full ramifications. And that means you might get some backlash, but that's okay if you truly believe in it and you don't want to have savior complex, most notably white savior complex, then don't be a part of it. And for a lot of people, for somebody like her who it seems that it may appear to affect her more personally, maybe that's where she stands in the mud. Now, where it starts to get a little bit crazier is when people got this clip and started reacting to her and her grievances.
It's worthwhile.
Madam?
She should donate some of that money she spends on food.
Moz, get this guy VIP.
And instead of having a better conversation about what happened, where his grievances lie, I don't expect too much out of XQC anyway because of who he is in his position. But that's why I personally don't turn to these streamers to be my source of political knowledge or political information or even opinions when it comes to serious, life-threatening and life-harming matters. You're for entertainment. Cut the cat videos on and start reacting, gang. I don't know. I don't look to you for this dumbass shit.
This is like Destiny just reading about Israel Palestine on Wikipedia and then hopping in.
And now Ludwig is being called out by what seems to be a friend of his podcast for saying that this knowledge and information is like Destiny getting on Twitter, which caused Destiny to get somehow into the fray. And people have been challenging Destiny for a long time because they talk about how his level of knowledge on information just seems to be surface level, where he gets on Twitter, enters into debates with people, and formulates this super hardcore opinion. An opinion in which can be insensitive to people who have actually studied or have been in the trenches or actually have personal ties to these debates. Them going back and forth on this situation seems super crazy, and honestly it makes them seem super insensitive and silly because these are actual traumas and strife, and the whole time they are sitting up in their ivory towers making commentary and content about it. I don't believe we should be looking at these people for these specific things. Now, do I believe that the woman went a little overboard? For sure. But do I believe that I need to hear Kai Cenat's or I Show Speed's take on something about racial injustices? Absolutely not. It would be cool if they sided with what I believed in. It would be cool if they thought the same things that I thought. Why? Because they have the biggest platforms in the world. And if my personal beliefs aligned with their personal beliefs and they could spread my message to the mass audience, then that would be a great thing. However, I also don't think that they should be the source of information. And I don't even think that they think that. But you've got to realize that if you go down this rabbit hole as a content creator, that you have to be 10, 20, or 30 toes down. And that may mean disrupting some of the audience that you have or whatever they're comfortable with, but you should be fine with that before you open your mouth. And if you're not comfortable with that, you should close your mouth and leave it on the playground. But hey, what do I know?